Good morning. You can hear me? Okay. Absolutely. Like Saturday mornings are always very difficult, right? Waking up, showing up on time. We don't do it on Monday to Friday. But absolutely great to see that we are starting sharp at 11. Look, these are the kind of conference make you think, reflect back. Where are we now? What has happened? And probably where are we moving? And UI UX as a technology probably changes every 2 years. If you look at 70s and 80s, it was primarily, when the computer era is just warming up, it was not about the experience. It is about how can I deliver some information to the screen, right? Whether it is a mainframe applications or Macintosh coming in, trying to show some information out there. With internet coming in early 90s, we talked about client server kind of an application. So we talk about JSP, ASP. Is there a better way to kind of deliver those information, right? With through technology part of it. Early 2000, with mobile apps becoming the mainstream, then whole B2B system also started kind of aligning with the mobile ecosystem. So it was about how do we deliver that information seamlessly, but not many different kind of screen size. Right? It was about how do I deliver that information into a mobile web app or a desktop. What do I need to do? Right? Then the whole concept around JavaScript daily, whole concept around back, we needed a layer between the backend and the front end so that we can massage the information and figure it out which is who is the channel and how do I deliver those information. Right? It has been that way for the last 10, 12 years. An incremental update has always been happening in this space. How do you kind of reduce your packet size? What do you do in the backend? What do you do in the front end side of it? And delivering the experience part of it. Rather than from a static template, how do I move into a more components? Right? It is all about how do I componentize this or widgetize this and then deliver the information. But it was always about delivering the information to lot many different channel. When I say channel, and lot many different type of devices. If I look at like my trip throughout, we touched about 5,000 different device footprint every day. Different device footprint. Right? It can be a very small screen with 1 GB RAM. It can be a much larger device. And how do you ensure that the quality of information you are delivering is absolutely great? That's why we are. And last 2 years, and we talk about AI, ML, and all of those kind of things. Right? Most of the AI, ML has worked on the backend side. To kind of massage the information, go through the information, create insight, and drive personalization. When I say drive personalization, it's mostly content personalization. Right? How do I show relevant information depending on who is my user persona? Right? Not necessarily and driving experience and engagement based on content and not necessarily based on UI as an experience layer or UX as an experience layer. Right? Briefly, I'll touch upon where we are. I fundamentally believe every 10 years technology shift, right? The way we consume information fundamentally changes. And probably with generative AI, that shift has happened in the last couple of years, right? There is a lot of buzz. So what does that mean? What does that mean for all of us who are looking to deliver experience? Doesn't really matter what technology we are using, deliver experience. If we are going to deliver experience, we need to figure it out. Is the experience channel is fundamentally going to change? Right? Is experience is going to deliver through an agent, through an UI, through an or it will be a multimodal experience. If that's so, then how does technology, what technology is available, what technology is required, and how do we seamlessly integrate that one? Reflecting back, I think this is the three fundamental things which is going to drive next 5-10 years. When I say AI-driven personalization, I briefly touched about AI has been always on the back end. So far, it was around content. Right? Now it will come into hyper personalizations from a UI UX experience layer, a multimodal experience layer. How do I bring in a screen and a voice or a chat or a video and create one-to-one experience layer? Maybe I'm driving my car and I open my agent and I want to book a flight ticket. How does that experience differ if I am kind of firing my mobile app, right, opening with my trip and trying to book a flight ticket? Is the experience same? While the journey may be the same, but the experience is fundamentally different. Do I need to stitch it together completely different, or can I deliver the experience based on the current context? Right. That means I compose the experience. Right. I think that's why we are moving into right now. I think lot more research is happening around multimodal. We are having this discussion every day, in and out, in the organization thinking. And there are a lot of use cases that we have implemented, but we think this is going to evolve. With technology evolve, this experience layer will evolve. And UI, when I say, voice, I think inherently, right? Inherently from birth, right? Visual experience or voice experience is a natural experience for us. And we have all moved into, so display, touch, and all that part of it. If we can interact with voice and do everything that we want to do, and if we need to project some information, right? If you have seen the demo human.ai, right? Which is nothing but, an agent talking about, and you need to project that information to make sure that you understood, you just project that information into any screen. Right? That means this interaction between a screen and the agent is very seamless. I'm sure those kind of stuff is counting. In last 10 years, we have seen screen sizes are only gone up to 6.5 inch, right? All of that because we are just trying to push a lot more information on the screen. Right? I don't know. Maybe we will carry everybody will rather the phone will be not good enough. You will carry a much larger. Your phone size is as big as a laptop now. The whole concept of 6.5 inch in the iPad is to be 7 inch, so there is no real gap. And technically there is, every all of those innovations stops at some point of time and new innovation kicks it off. Probably we are in that junction. I don't know how it will work, but it will move into two directions where multimodal experience is going to be primary stream. The other stuff that we are talking about is, a lot of people talk about AR, VR, and all of that part of it. So how do we create immersive experience using 3D? These days it is very expensive because from the bandwidth requirement and all that part of it. I think 5G becoming mainstream, right? Edge computing becoming mainstream. I think these are reality these days. And there are a lot of, and like AI able to create image on demand, storage on demand. I'm sure all of those things will become mainstream. Right? So fundamentally, if we are all working on the UI part of it, we need to figure it out. How do we deliver information now? And one fundamental characteristics will change is the interaction between the front end and the back end. Right now, every time we have a use case, the back end guy and the front end guy sit together and figure it out. What is my JSON object look like, what is my API look like, and what information it will give me, what I will do in the front end, what I will do in the back end. That means it's a very structured approach. What if that's not there? What if your interactions are very fluid? Right? Which layer you are going to do that part? So because if you really look at last 20 years, we have just made the information very rare, stacks. There is a UI layer, there is a backend to client layer, there is an application backend layer, even there is probably a connector layer under that database. All information just flow through, up down, and come back, come up down. What if you organize that information is more of a grid, right? And the interactions are peer-to-peer communication. Fundamentally, Web3 lot of kind of a technology, peer-to-peer communication based on tokens, and not necessarily one hierarchical dimensions. These are all possibilities. Shifting in, what exactly the engineering challenge that we are talking about for developers? We spoke about, it's about multimodal interactions. For a developer, I'm sure the design guy will create a beautiful multimodal interactions. But how do you manage context states when when you are designing multimodal experience part? Right? That's the biggest part of it. How do you drive consistency across platform? When I say across platform, last 10, 20 years, it was always about, I am running some information on my phone. Now I move into my desktop. What if I move, I log into my television, across different channel screen, I used to synchronize information, user state and all of those things. Now the network part of it, how do I synchronize that information part of it? Is it like a hub and spoke kind of a model where everybody is speaking about and bringing in the state? Or it is going to be different. That's fundamentally we need to think through. How the information architecture is going to look like in those areas. The other part of it always is basically balancing usability and the experience. People pay for experience. These days, we all pay for experience, not necessarily for functionality part. Functionality is commodity, everybody is giving you the same functionality part of it. If you want to book a flight, I'm sure there are 20 different apps to book a flight. Why do Make My Trip have 50 odd percentage of market share? Why do people prefer to book it Make My Trip? It is practically because of better experience. Whether it is experience part of the booking or whether it is an experience part of the post-booking part. Right? Those are the kind of why people come back to you. Because all other things being equal, it is experience will drive the differentiation part. Right? So what is the next paradigm of experience look like? If you don't have a UI, if you don't have an app, how is Make My Trip or how is any B2C organization or corporate is going to engage? What is the metrics of experience is going to look like? I think that's the fundamental we need to look for. And again, every time you are chatting, you always have a resource as a constraint, collaboration as a constraint. Now, how do we drive innovation? UI is a little more complex because somebody spoke about why people like thriller. Why because it is suspense. Fundamentally don't know till things runs. From a back end, I can simulate all the experience before it goes live because everything I look at an instrument and it is very structured. In UI, you don't know who is consuming the information, what device is consuming the information, what is the path they are taking it out. If there is a JavaScript error for me, it is not very easy for to capture that information and kind of creating any intervention part of it. So with more context coming in, more interaction coming in, how I'm going to make sure that what I'm releasing is basically right up there. So some of the things that came into my mind, we have been experimenting on AI for developing our test suites, creating different scenarios and all that part of it, which we find very interesting. And with Copilot and all of those kind of things, if we can think through the UI, then you probably can think through what is your test cases look like, what will your flow look like, whether it is a simulation of screens or a simulation to content or simulation to behavior, all that part of it. We're trying to capture and drive that part of it. That's fundamentally my thought. What I want, I look at these speakers, some really practical cool stuff coming across. I just wanted to take this 10-15 minutes and stimulus our thought, saying where we are, and fundamentally the UI technology is going to change, but the experience is going to change, and what are the different things we should be talking about, right? It's not about, is there a new JS library? Of course, there will be a JS library every 6 months. We have seen that. Technology has changed, it will change. But how long? Is that JS library is going to solve my purpose, or is there a better way to interact, better way to collaborate? And most of the time, we have learned from young people coming through because they are following the trends. And the other opportunity, why we wanted to do this, because we thought, given this space is opening up, we want a larger community to participate and share knowledge and then grow together. It is very difficult to figure it out. I'm sure different organizations solving different problems, and it is happening in isolation. Until unless they collaborate, we don't know what can be done. We have seen this kind of forum running in West quite a lot. People learn from each other very quickly rather than by doing by themselves. We just want to initiate this forum and make sure that people collaborate, not necessarily where they are doing. I'd be happy if somebody is solving that problem somewhere else, then I know, yeah, this problem is possible, solvable, and these are n number of approaches, and we can collaborate and we can solve together. Thank you guys. Absolutely looking forward